My ex is coming to my birthday. It's my birthday, so you don't get a say. My wife told me. I said okay, then invited his pregnant fiancée and ordered a birthday cake that did the talking. She wanted attention, and she got it. Hey Reddit, so a while back, I went through something that started as a simple birthday party for my wife and ended up being the most unforgettable night of my life, for reasons no one in that room will ever forget. I'm not here to rant, just to tell you how a few lies, some overconfidence, and a very specific cake turned one be mature conversation into the biggest wake-up call I've ever given anyone. I, Martin, 29 male, have been married to Phoebe, 28 female, for 3 years. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that her birthday might as well be a national holiday. She treats it like an annual festival dedicated to her existence. Weeks of planning, multiple outfit changes, and more drama than an awards show. I didn't mind it, usually. I liked seeing her happy, and it gave me a reason to take a break from work and hang out with family. This year, though, things were supposed to be simpler. A small get-together at my parents' house. Some close friends. Dinner, cake, done. Or at least that's what I thought until Tuesday night. I was in the kitchen making dinner, half listening to the sound of some reality show playing in the living room. Phoebe was sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She had that look she gets when she's about to drop something I won't like. You know the one, where she looks casual on purpose. Out of nowhere, she says, "Hey, by the way, Patrick is coming on Saturday. Be mature about it." I froze halfway through draining the pasta. "Patrick?" I asked, trying to keep my tone even. She didn't even look up. "Yeah, Patrick. My ex." I leaned on the counter, blinking slowly. "You mean your ex-boyfriend Patrick? The same guy who used to send you flowers every week when we first started dating? That Patrick?" She sighed, like I was being dramatic. "He's just a friend now, Martin." "Don't start." "Not starting," I said, voice flat. "Just clarifying which Patrick we're talking about before I start preparing emotionally for your ex sitting next to my parents at dinner." That got her to look up finally. "You're being ridiculous. He's going through a breakup, and I didn't want him to be alone. It's my birthday, not yours. Can you please just be mature about this?" There it was. Be mature about it. Her favorite line whenever she wanted to do something selfish and make me feel like the unreasonable one for noticing. I crossed my arms. "And when exactly did you decide to invite him?" "Yesterday," she said, turning her eyes back to her phone. "I already talked to your mom about it. She said it was fine." That one landed. My mom, my mother, who can't even handle a neighbor dropping by unannounced, was apparently cool with Phoebe's ex showing up to her house. "You talked to my mom before me?" I asked. She gave this little shrug. "You were at work, and I didn't think it was a big deal. It's just one person." "Right," I said slowly. "Just one person you used to date." She rolled her eyes, setting her phone down. "You always blow things out of proportion. It's been years. We're just friends." "Yeah, because just friends always come to their ex's birthday party at her husband's house," I muttered. "Martin," she snapped, "don't make this weird. I invited him out of kindness. You always talk about empathy and decency, so maybe try practicing it?" I stared at her, then laughed under my breath. "You're right. I should be more empathetic. Maybe next time I'll invite one of my exes to dinner. We can all compare notes." She shot me a glare. "You're acting like a child?" I walked over, grabbed a plate, and started dishing the pasta. "No, I'm acting like someone who doesn't love surprises that involve other men at my family's house." Phoebe crossed her arms. "I knew you'd react like this. That's why I asked your mom first." "Smart move," I said dryly. "That way, if I say no, I'm the jerk ruining everyone's fun." "Exactly," she said, without even catching the sarcasm. I sat down at the table and handed her a plate. "Fine. If you want him there, I'll be mature about it. But don't expect me to babysit the situation." Her whole mood flipped instantly, like I'd passed some test. She smiled, grabbed her fork, and said, "Thank you, babe. I knew you'd understand." I nodded once. "Oh, I understand perfectly." She thought I'd roll over like usual. Smile, nod, and play the mature husband. But the thing is, I'm not the kind of guy who ignores patterns. You see something enough times, and eventually you stop giving the benefit of the doubt. So yeah, I smiled and brushed it off that night. But inside, something clicked. Because if she wanted Patrick at her birthday so badly, fine, he could come. But she was about to find out what maturity really looked like. And I wasn't planning on being the one embarrassed this time. The next few days felt like watching someone rehearse for a role. Phoebe went from her usual morning grump to Miss Sunshine overnight. She started wearing more makeup, dressed nicer even when she had nowhere to go, and spent half her time glued to her phone, giggling at texts that I wasn't a part of. By Wednesday, She'd mentioned Patrick's name more times than I'd heard it in 3 years. Oh, Patrick said he'll bring dessert. Or, Patrick has the same music taste as my dad. It's so funny. Every mention came with that same smug tone, like she was daring me to react. I didn't take the bait. I just nodded and kept my cool, which probably annoyed her more than anything. See, Phoebe thrived on reactions. She liked winning little emotional battles, but I wasn't going to hand her another one. So around midnight, when she finally fell asleep, I waited a good 20 minutes just listening to her breathing even out. Then I picked up her phone off the nightstand. She'd switched to one of those cheap glitter cases that looked like something a high schooler would buy. Real subtle. She didn't have a password I didn't already know. For a second, I almost felt guilty. Almost. Then I remembered her laughing into her pillow a few nights ago, calling me paranoid, and that guilt evaporated. The first thing I opened was her messages. There it was. Patrick. No emojis, no hearts, but enough to make my jaw clench. I clicked it. The thread was long. Too long. The messages started off casual. Old jokes, a few memes, small talk. Then it shifted. You were always the only one who really understood me. You were easier to talk to back then. Things were simpler. I miss what we had. Yeah, me too. Sometimes I think I made the wrong choice. I read that line 3 times. Wrong choice. That was me. Her husband. The wrong choice. There was more. Messages about how she wished she could go back, or how, maybe in another life, they'd have worked out. Nothing explicit, but every line screamed emotional cheating. She'd been building a little fantasy world with him behind my back, pretending to be his safe space. I emailed them to myself from her phone, then deleted the sent mail, cleared the trash, and wiped the history. Her mail app only showed local messages, not the full server, so clearing those folders was enough. She'd never know I put her phone back exactly where it was and lay down. It's weird how once someone breaks your trust, it's like a switch flips. You stop asking why and start planning what's next. The next morning, Phoebe was humming while making coffee, wearing my shirt like nothing was wrong. Morning, she said cheerfully. We're low on milk. Can you grab some later? I stared at her for a second, still seeing that wrong choice text burned into my head. Sure, I said, voice even. You sleeping okay? Yeah, she said, smiling like she meant it. Just excited for my birthday. I almost laughed. Excited. She had no idea how exciting it was actually going to get. When she left for a salon appointment that afternoon, I sat down at my laptop and decided to see what Patrick was really up to. His social media wasn't hard to find. Dude loved attention as much as Phoebe did. Smiling pictures, gym selfies, travel shots. But what caught my eye was a photo from 3 weeks ago he was tagged in, but didn't repost. He was standing next to a woman with short brown hair holding her belly. I clicked her profile. Her name was Kara, and judging by her posts, she was around 4 months pregnant. There were ultrasound pictures, baby clothes, and comments from friends saying, "Congrats, mama." Patrick wasn't going through a breakup. He was about to become a dad. I sat back, staring at the screen. Phoebe had looked me in the face and said, Patrick had no one else. And this idiot was out here posing in maternity photos. I kept scrolling. There was another picture of them at a restaurant, Kara glowing, Patrick pretending to be the perfect fiancé. Yeah, fiancé. I spotted the ring photo buried a few months back. Caption said, "Forever starts here." So that's what she meant by simpler times. She wanted to play comfort therapist for a man who already had someone expecting his kid. I thought about Kara for a while. She looked happy. You could tell she was proud of her little family, probably thinking her man was loyal and decent. That kind of trust hits different when you realize how easily it's being tossed aside. So I made a new Instagram account. Blank profile picture. Generic name. Something no one would think twice about. Then I typed out a message. Hey, Kara. You don't know me, but I think there's something you should see. I'm married to Phoebe, Patrick's ex. She invited him to her birthday party this weekend. He told her he's single and going through a rough time. I thought you should know before it gets worse. And I sat back in my chair, watching the message status change from sent to seen. It didn't take long for the typing bubble to appear. Looks like Kara was awake. And if my gut was right, she was about to have a very interesting conversation with her fiancé. I leaned back, cracked my knuckles, and smiled to myself. Let Phoebe enjoy her birthday prep. Let her post her selfies and order her balloons. Because when Saturday came, I wasn't just going to show up to her party. I was going to change the entire guest list. It didn't take long. Maybe 10 minutes after I hit send, my phone buzzed. A message request. Who is this? What do you mean invited? He said he's working this weekend. So that was quick. I took a breath, reminded myself to keep it calm and factual, and replied, I get it's weird hearing from a stranger, but I'm not lying. My wife invited him to her birthday party. I thought you should know before he shows up pretending otherwise. The typing bubble appeared, disappeared, came back. You could almost feel the hesitation through the screen. Can you prove that? I sent a cropped screenshot. No personal info, just enough of the messages to show the truth. A few minutes passed before she responded again. Oh my god. Or Kara had his iCloud still logged in on an old iPad. Everything synced automatically. She'd seen the same messages I had. That was it. 3 words. You could tell she was just staring at the screen, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. Then another message came. I'm 4 months pregnant with a boy. He's been acting distant for weeks, said he was swamped with work. Now it makes sense. I just stared at it for a second. 4 months pregnant. I'm sorry, I wrote. You didn't deserve that. None of this is on you. I feel so stupid, she replied. He told me his ex ruined him. Said she left him for some loser who probably couldn't keep up with her. Well, that loser was apparently me. I almost laughed. The guy was rewriting history like a bad movie script. If it helps, I texted back, the loser is sitting right here, paying for the house she decorated while texting your fiancé. A pause. Then, you sound calm. How are you not losing it? Because losing it doesn't fix anything, I said. I'd rather handle it right. She sent a small fair enough emoji. Then another message popped up. Longer this time. I just don't get it. We were planning the nursery last week. He seemed happy. I knew he was distracted lately, but I thought it was stress. Now I know it was her. He's a coward, I typed back. When men like that get bored, they reach for nostalgia. It's easier to chase the past than face what they've built. She didn't reply right away. Then, after a minute, what are you going to do? That was when I started really planning. We moved to regular texting after that. Easier to talk without switching apps. Her tone shifted a bit. Still angry, but steadier. You could tell she'd gone from shock to problem-solving mode. I respected that. We talked for almost an hour. I asked about her pregnancy, mostly to distract her from the mess. She said it hadn't been easy. Morning sickness, anxiety, the usual. She'd been trying to hold everything together while Patrick worked late every other night. What a jerk. Late, huh? Probably just enough time to text Phoebe about simpler times. She asked what kind of party it was going to be, and when I said it was her birthday, she laughed dryly. That fits. He loves making everything about him. Showing up at her birthday is exactly his kind of stupid. Then she added, you know what's crazy? When we first started dating, he told me she was controlling and insecure. Said she dumped him because she thought he'd never be successful. Now he's crawling back to her like a lost dog. It didn't surprise me. I'd seen the same type before. The guys who blame everyone but themselves, who rewrite breakups so they can feel like the victim. We kept texting, trading bits of info. Kara sent a few screenshots of her own, proving he'd told her this weekend was for work team bonding. He even said he might have spotty reception. I laughed. Spotty reception at a party with a full buffet and balloons. By the end of the conversation, she was quiet for a bit. Then she sent, you're planning something, aren't you? Let's just say her party's about to get a surprise guest. You're inviting me? I'm giving you an opportunity, I said. He thinks he's spending the weekend charming his ex behind your back. I think he should meet his fiance's spine instead. There was a long pause. Then, you know what? I'm in. He can deal with both of us. I don't care if it's awkward. I'm done protecting his image. I grinned at my phone. This woman was tougher than I expected. Good, I said. We'll do it clean. No screaming, no chaos. Just facts. She sent one more text before we ended the chat for the night. I want the truth to hit him where it hurts. Not loud, just final. That sentence stuck with me. It was the kind of revenge that didn't need shouting, just timing. Later that night, I sat at the kitchen counter thinking. Phoebe wanted a cake. I'd told her I'd handle it. I opened my laptop, searched for a bakery, and an idea started forming in my head. Half genius, half evil. A gender reveal cake. Patrick was about to become a father, and Phoebe didn't even know. The irony was too perfect. I could already picture the confusion on her face, the panic on his. I typed in the order details. White frosting, blue filling, words written clearly on top. It's a boy. When the confirmation email came through, I felt the smallest smile creep across my face. Let them play their little nostalgia games. Let them think they're in control. Because in a few days, that cake wasn't just going to reveal a baby's gender. It was going to reveal exactly what kind of people they really were. The next morning, Phoebe was on a mission. The woman woke up humming before sunrise like she was running a wedding, not a birthday party. She had her planner open, a pen behind her ear, and a phone call on speaker. The only thing louder than her playlist was her ego. I just want everything perfect, she said, pacing around the kitchen. Patrick said he'll come early to help set up. He's so thoughtful like that. Thoughtful. That word almost made me laugh. I just nodded while sipping coffee, pretending to scroll my phone. Yeah, he's a real gem, I said under my breath. What? She asked. Nothing, I said, smiling. Just thinking how lucky you are to have such considerate friends. She smiled like I'd given her a compliment. It was almost impressive how easy it was to fool her once you stopped showing emotion. She went on about balloons, playlists, candles, the usual chaos. Meanwhile, my phone buzzed quietly in my pocket. A message from Kara. Are you sure about tomorrow? I've been thinking about it, and I don't know if I can face him. I excused myself to check the mail and stepped outside. The morning air helped clear my head. I typed back, you don't have to do anything dramatic. Just walk in, see the truth, and leave. I'll handle the rest. He's going to deny everything, she replied. That's what he does. He can deny all he wants, I wrote. But denial doesn't work well when the evidence is sitting next to a cake that says it's a boy. There was a long pause. Then, okay, I'll come. I'll be there at 5:30. Good, I said. I'll make sure you're walking into a show worth seeing. After that, I headed over to my parents' house. The party was being held there. Less stress, they said. I knocked once and stepped in. My mom was at the dining table polishing the good dishes. My sister Lauren was helping, looking suspiciously entertained. Hey, I said, closing the door behind me. We need to talk before the circus starts. They both froze. That's serious? My mom asked. Serious enough, I said, pulling my phone from my pocket. I opened the screenshots folder and slid it across the table. Lauren was the first to react. Oh my God, she's been texting him like this? My mom frowned, scrolling through each message. You mean the Patrick she invited? That Patrick? She told me he's a family friend. The one and only, I said. Apparently, he's been her emotional support system, while also lying to his pregnant fiancée. Mom set the phone down, rubbing her forehead. Why are you telling me this now? Because you're about to host a party that's going to get messy, I said flatly. I wanted you to be prepared. Don't try to stop it. Just let it play out. Lauren looked way too excited for someone hearing about betrayal. You're planning something, aren't you? Let's just say her cake isn't what she thinks it is. She grinned. You need someone to record? Already ahead of me, I said, smirking. You'll know when to hit record. Mom looked worried. Martin, are you sure this is wise? Maybe handle it privately. Mom, I interrupted gently. If she wanted privacy, she wouldn't have brought her ex to my family's house. I'm just matching her energy. Lauren laughed. This is going to be legendary. I gave her a look. Don't cheer too loud during the chaos. By the time I got home, Phoebe was mid-phone call again. And this time I didn't need to guess who it was. She was standing by the window, whispering. Yeah, I can't wait to see you too, she said softly. Just try to come before everyone else. It'll be nice to talk before things get busy. I leaned quietly against the hallway wall, phone recording in my hand. Got it all. Her tone, the pause, the little giggle after she said goodbye. When she hung up and turned around, I was in the doorway. Everything good? I asked casually. She jumped a little. Yeah, just my friend about the decorations. Friend, I repeated with a nod. Got it. She smiled like nothing happened. You picked up the cake, right? Not yet, I said. It's a surprise cake. You'll love it. Oh, surprise, she asked, eyes lighting up. What kind of surprise? I shrugged. Something special. I even invited a guest to help deliver it. Her face softened, curiosity all over it. Really? Who? You'll see, I said, grabbing my keys. Thought it'd make the night more memorable. She grinned, clearly imagining some celebrity friend or distant relative she liked. You're being so sweet lately, she said. I smiled back. You have no idea. That night, after she went to bed, I sat in the living room scrolling through my notes. I had the screenshots, the voice recording, and Kara's confirmation text. Every piece of the puzzle was ready. I texted Kara one last time. I closed my phone and leaned back on the couch, staring at the ceiling. The house was silent, except for the soft sound of Phoebe's phone buzzing in the other room, probably more sweet nothings from Patrick. Tomorrow she'd get her wish, a birthday surrounded by people she cared about. Music, food, attention, all eyes on her, exactly how she liked it. Except this time, the spotlight wasn't going to flatter her. It was going to burn. I looked at the boxed cake receipt sitting on the counter, the one labeled "It's a Boy," and smiled to myself. Let her think it's someone famous, I said quietly. She'll find out soon enough who the real surprise is. Saturday came fast. By the time we reached my parents' house, Phoebe was already in full commander mode. She was running around giving orders to my mom and sister like she was directing a Broadway show. "Martin, did you pick up the cake?" she called out, adjusting her new dress in the hallway mirror. "On my way," I said, grabbing my keys. She smiled, fixing her earrings. "Don't mess it up, please. This cake is important." "I wouldn't dream of it," I said. I picked it up, checked the top before leaving. It's a boy written in neat blue icing. Perfect. When I got back, the house was buzzing. Family, friends, co-workers, everyone crammed in. The music was loud, laughter louder. Phoebe was in her element, soaking in every compliment about her dress, her decorations, her radiant glow. She wasn't glowing. She was oblivious. Patrick hadn't shown up yet, but I knew he would. Guys like him love making an entrance. I placed the cake on the kitchen counter and joined my dad in the corner, who leaned over and whispered, "This is going to be something, isn't it?" I just smiled. "You'll see." Then, the doorbell rang. I opened the door. There he was. Patrick. He looked exactly like the type of guy who thought mirrors were invented for him. New haircut, fresh jacket, holding a shiny gift bag, and cupcakes like he was Santa for grown women. "Hey, man," he said, flashing his best fake smile. "Thanks for having me." "No problem," I said. "Come on in. Everyone's waiting." As soon as he walked in, Phoebe lit up. Lit up. She ran over, hugged him a second too long, laughed too hard at his jokes. The room didn't even need to be observant. It was obvious. My mom's polite smile was doing heavy emotional labor. Patrick started mingling, shaking hands, complimenting the decorations like he owned the place. Phoebe followed him around like a spotlight. When it was time for cake, I stepped in. "All right, everyone," I said, clapping my hands. "Let's do the cake." Phoebe beamed, walking to the center of the room like a celebrity. "Finally, I've been waiting all day for this." "Trust me," I said. "So have I." My mom dimmed the lights a little. The crowd gathered, and I carried the cake in. The box opened, and for a moment, all you could hear was people clapping and cheering. Then Phoebe leaned forward to read the writing. Her smile faltered. "It's a boy?" she said slowly, squinting at the frosting. "What is that supposed to mean?" People exchanged glances. My sister had her phone up now, pretending to record the candles, but clearly focused on the chaos about to unfold. Before Phoebe could say another word, the front door opened. Every head turned. Kara stepped inside, holding a small wrapped gift in one hand and resting the other gently on her stomach. Phoebe blinked, confused. Patrick froze mid-smile, his face draining of color. The room went dead silent. "Sorry I'm late," Kara said softly, walking in. Her voice was calm, steady, almost too calm. "Had trouble finding parking." Phoebe looked from her to me, then back at Patrick. Who is that?" I smiled, placing the cake knife down. "That," I said, "is Patrick's fiancée, and apparently the mother of his child." The reaction was instant. Patrick's jaw dropped. Phoebe stepped back like she'd been slapped. Kara set the gift on the table beside the cake. "You told me you were at a work celebration," she said to Patrick, her voice still even. "Didn't realize the job title was ex-girlfriend's emotional support animal." Patrick stuttered, holding out his hands. "Kara, it's not what it looks like." "Oh, it's exactly what it looks like," she said, stepping closer. "I've seen the messages. The midnight texts, the miss you notes. You forgot to clear the cloud, genius." A few people chuckled awkwardly. Someone whispered, "Oh my God," from the corner. Phoebe turned red. "Wait, this is insane." "No," Kara cut her off. "What's insane is you texting someone else's fiancé about how you made the wrong choice." Phoebe's voice cracked. "You went through my messages?" Kara didn't even flinch. "No, your husband did." Every pair of eyes swung toward me. I just shrugged. "Hey, I like transparency." Patrick was sweating now. "Kara, please, can we talk outside?" "No," she said firmly. "You've done enough talking." I just came to make sure she knew what kind of man she invited. He ran a hand through his hair, panicking. "You don't understand?" "No, I understand perfectly," she said. "You're a liar. You're a coward. And you're not coming home." And just like that, Kara turned and walked out. No screaming, no drama, just quiet finality. The door closed behind her. Patrick stood frozen for a few seconds, then muttered, "I can't do this," and walked right out after her. No goodbye, no apology, just gone. The silence that followed was heavy. Phoebe's eyes were wide, her hands shaking. "You set me up," she said weakly. I tilted my head. "No, you set yourself up. I just handled the catering." She looked around the room, realizing everyone had witnessed it. The perfect birthday, ruined in real time. I picked up a plate, cut myself a slice of the cake, and took a bite. Not bad, I said. Want some? She glared at me, tears forming. You humiliated me. I nodded. Yeah, but technically, you started it when you invited your ex to your birthday. Not a very smart move, Phoebe. She didn't respond. Just stood there, frozen, trying to figure out if there was any way to salvage her dignity. There wasn't. I placed the plate down and straightened up. Happy birthday, I said quietly. Behind me, I heard my sister whisper, that was better than TV. And for once, I couldn't disagree. By the time the last guest cleared out, the house looked like a battlefield after a parade. My mom and sister had gone to the backyard, claiming they needed fresh air. I didn't blame them. Phoebe was still standing in the middle of the room, staring at the ruined cake like it was a crime scene. Then she snapped. You ruined my birthday! She screamed, voice echoing through the house. I stayed calm, leaning against the counter. You ruined your own birthday, I said evenly. I just provided the cake. She grabbed a handful of frosting and hurled it at the wall. It splattered blue and white streaks, sliding down like confetti from hell. Then she grabbed the entire cake stand and threw it onto the floor. The smash echoed, frosting everywhere. Are you happy now? She yelled. You made a fool out of me in front of everyone. You embarrassed me. I crossed my arms. No, you embarrassed yourself. I just gave everyone a front row seat. She was pacing now, hands flying everywhere. You planned this. You invited her here to humiliate me. You invited him here, I reminded her. Remember that part? The be mature speech? You wanted to play games. You just didn't expect someone else to know the rules better than you. Don't talk to me like that, she snapped. I'll talk to you however I want in my parents' house, I said. And speaking of that, I walked over to the corner where I'd set something earlier. A small, neatly wrapped box. Silver paper. Simple bow. I picked it up and handed it to her. She glared. What is that supposed to be? A gift, I said. I figured I shouldn't be completely heartless tonight. She hesitated, still breathing hard. After what you did, you think a gift fixes this? Won't fix it, I said, shrugging. But it'll make things clearer. She ripped the wrapping paper open, tearing through it like she was attacking the problem itself. When she lifted the lid, she froze. Inside was a manila envelope. She pulled it out slowly, confusion turning to disbelief as she saw the header. Divorce papers, I said quietly. Her eyes widened. You're serious? Very, I said. I'd emailed my lawyer Wednesday. He overnighted the drafts. You can sign when you're ready or not. Doesn't matter. But this? It's over. Her lip trembled, switching from rage to shock. You can't just decide that. I can, I said. And I did. Lauren must have heard the yelling because she reappeared in the hallway, phone in hand, recording again. I shot her a look, but she mouthed, Evidence. Phoebe noticed and pointed. Are you filming me? Lauren smiled faintly. Family memories. Phoebe let out a frustrated cry and grabbed her purse. You're both insane, she shouted, storming toward the door. You'll regret this, she hissed. Doubt it, I said. She glared one more time before storming out. The front door slammed so hard a picture frame rattled off the wall. For a moment, the house went quiet again. Just me, the mess, and the faint smell of vanilla frosting. After she left, I grabbed a towel and started cleaning the frosting off the wall. Blue streaks smeared into white, like erasing a bad memory. My phone buzzed on the counter. 17 new messages. All from Phoebe. I didn't even have to open them to guess the order. Angry, blaming, apologizing, begging. The usual cycle. I scrolled just enough to confirm. You're evil. You made me look crazy. Can we talk, please? I didn't mean for it to go this far. Martin, answer me. Please, just talk to me. I typed one reply. Talk to my lawyer. Then I muted her thread. By the next morning, she'd stopped texting, at least for now. The silence felt foreign, but good. The kind of peace you don't realize you've been missing until it finally shows up. A few days later, while I was at work, I got a message from Cora. Hey, just wanted to say thank you again. I left him for good. Staying with my parents for now, focusing on the baby. I leaned back in my chair, exhaling. You don't owe me thanks, I replied. You just did what needed to be done. That night, I met with my lawyer officially. He went over the paperwork, asked a few routine questions, and looked impressed when I handed over the evidence. You kept everything clean, he said. Screenshots, recordings. It's airtight. This should move fast. Good, I said. The sooner it's done, the better. He nodded. You're sure you don't want to give her time to cool off? She's had 3 years to mature, I said. Cooling off won't help. He chuckled and closed the file. Fair enough. For the first time since the whole thing began, I caught myself smiling. It wasn't joy exactly, more like relief, the kind that comes when you finally stop holding your breath. Phoebe wanted a night she'd never forget. She got it. And me? I got something better. Peace. 2 months later, that peace hadn't left. The divorce was almost finalized, and Phoebe hadn't fought me on a single thing. Not one argument, not one counteroffer. Her lawyer called mine once, said she just wanted it over with, but I figured she was too embarrassed to drag it out publicly. I got 60% of the assets without a fight. The apartment, my car, most of the savings. She took a few personal things, clothes, jewelry, some furniture she'd picked, and left quietly. Honestly, I didn't even care about the stuff. I just wanted her gone. Word got around faster than I expected. My sister Lauren told me the group chat with our extended family hadn't stopped buzzing since the night of the party. Apparently, Phoebe's meltdown had made her unofficially famous. The birthday girl who got gender revealed. Even her friends from work started distancing themselves. No one wants to be the plus one to a scandal. Lauren said one of them had posted a vague quote on Instagram. Some people love the spotlight until it burns. Everyone knew who it was about. Patrick, on the other hand, didn't take the hint. A week after the party, he tried reaching out to Kara. Called her, texted her, even sent flowers to her parents' house. She blocked him everywhere. Lauren told me he'd been seen at a local bar a few times, looking miserable and talking about how he lost everything. I didn't feel bad. He didn't lose everything. He just lost access to people he could manipulate. Kara kept in touch with me a little. Nothing weird, just occasional texts, updates on how things were going. She told me she'd moved back in with her parents for a while, focusing on her baby and rebuilding her life. She sounded calmer, stronger. One afternoon, she messaged me, "Hey, I'm in town for a doctor's appointment. Want to grab coffee?" My treat. I said yes. Not because I wanted anything more, but because it felt right. A sort of mutual closure. We met at a small cafe downtown, one with brick walls and quiet music. I spotted her right away near the window. She looked different. Softer, maybe, but peaceful in a way I recognized. Her hand rested on her baby bump, like she was guarding something good. Before she left, she handed me a small envelope. "What's this?" I asked. She smiled. "A sonogram. Figured you earned one. You're kind of the reason this kid's mom got her head on straight." I looked at the image. A little blurry silhouette. Tiny hands and feet. For the first time in a long time, something in my chest loosened. "Thanks," I said quietly. She stood, grabbed her coat, and smiled. "Take care, Martin. And don't stop trusting yourself. You're better at reading people than you think." After I hung up, I walked over to the box in the corner. The last of Phoebe's leftovers. Some random decor, an old sweater, a few photos. I carried it outside, dropped it by the trash bins, and didn't look back. That chapter was done. No grand speeches, no dramatic closure, just quiet, decisive endings, the kind that last. A few days later, my lawyer emailed to confirm the final paperwork. Everything signed, everything clean. I signed my copy and sent it back without hesitation. I closed my laptop, leaned back, and let out a long breath. The past year had been a circus, but now it was over. I didn't miss the marriage. I didn't miss the arguing, the fake smiles, the pretending. I didn't even miss the comfort. I only missed peace, but I already had that back. As I stood there, looking at the empty counter where her perfume bottles used to sit, I caught my reflection in the window. Calm, collected, free. She wanted a memorable birthday, I said to myself, a grin spreading across my face. Guess she got one, blue frosting and all. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.